Hi, my name is Yazan Ibrahim, also known as Yazan Abu Ghosh. Today we will talk about Chapter 3, Part A, Information Systems 3.1 Project, Governance and Management. In any organization, imagine dozens of projects buzzing along simultaneously, each with its own timeline, team, and objectives. Some projects might be small, like a department updating its internal database, and others could be transformative, such as rolling out a company-wide enterprise resource planning ERP system. Without clear guidance, these projects could spiral out of control, wasting resources, creating delays, or even compromising the organization's goals. That's where project governance and management come into play. It's the backbone of order, ensuring every piece of the puzzle works together to achieve success. But what exactly is project governance? Think of it as the compass that keeps all projects aligned with an organization's strategic goals. It provides the rules, policies, and structures to help leaders make decisions, manage risks, and connect every project to the organization's overall vision. Without it, projects can become isolated islands, disconnected from each other and the business as a whole. Governance ultimately ensures that resources are allocated wisely, risks are minimized, and the desired benefits of a project are continuously monitored. Now, you might wonder, who are the players in this governance system and how do they influence project outcomes? Imagine a governance system as a web that stretches across functional departments and project teams. Governance doesn't just happen at the project level. It extends to all stakeholders, including senior management and functional line departments. Decisions, whether about funding, staffing, or timelines, are informed and guided by a solid business case. This isn't a set it and forget it approach. Governance involves periodic reviews to assess whether the project is meeting the intended objectives and delivering the expected benefits. At its core, project management is about balance. On one hand, you have hard factors like deliverables, quality, costs, and deadlines. These are the tangible elements that often make or break a project. But just as important are soft factors, the human elements. Think team dynamics, leadership abilities, cultural differences, and even the resolution of conflicts that inevitably crop up when strong-willed experts come together to collaborate. And then there's an often overlooked layer, the organization's political and environmental factors. Power dynamics, conflicting stakeholders' expectations, and ethical concerns might not appear on a project timeline, but they can determine success or failure just as much as budgets or deadlines. The complexity of managing projects increases with the scale of the organization. In smaller organizations, roles may overlap. A single person may juggle multiple responsibilities. But as businesses grow, the need for accountability and segregation of duties becomes critical. For instance, an information systems (IS) auditor plays a vital role in ensuring that core rules like segregation of duties aren't compromised while navigating the often complex systems development process. Now, governance and management are not one-size-fits-all concepts. Different organizational structures shape how projects are managed. Let's look at three common types to understand their differences. 1. Functional structured organization. Picture a traditional hierarchy where projects are managed within departments. Here, the project manager acts primarily as an advisor rather than having authority. They navigate through departmental silos, providing recommendations but ultimately relying on others to complete the work. 2. Project structured organization. In stark contrast, the project manager wields considerable authority. They control not just the project scope, but also the team, budget, and timeline, ensuring alignment with organizational goals. 3. Matrix structured organization. This setup lies somewhere in the middle, with authority shared between project managers and department heads. It's more collaborative, but can also lead to conflicts if roles and responsibilities aren't clearly defined up front. Leadership, as you can see, shapes how projects are executed. But what about methodologies and tools? Organizations don't just stumble upon success, they rely on structured processes and frameworks to bring projects to life. For IS projects, this often means dividing the work into clear phases, like those found in the software development lifecycle, SDLC, initiating, planning, executing, controlling, and closing. Each phase is a building block, carefully monitored to ensure nothing falls through the cracks. Speaking of monitoring, the structure of a project's leadership team plays an equally important role. A project steering committee, for instance, operates like a lighthouse, providing ongoing direction and ensuring the project sails towards its goals. Comprised of senior representatives from the various business areas impacted by the project, this committee reviews progress regularly, steps in during emergencies, and takes corrective actions to address any arising challenges. When you hear the term steering committee, think of a team that's deeply invested in high-level outcomes but leaves day-to-day operations to the project manager and their team. The project manager, in turn, is the captain of the ship, leading the team's daily activities, solving interdepartmental disputes, and ensuring deliverables meet quality standards while adhering to budget and schedule constraints. They even wear a diplomat's hat, representing the stakeholders and ensuring their interests are taken into account. But the captain also has advisors. Quality assurance, QA experts, for example, check every phase of the project, making sure requirements are being met and keeping the project team on its toes about adherence to the organization's standards and procedures. Of course, projects don't operate in isolation. Most belong to something bigger, a project portfolio or program. A portfolio, in essence, is the sum of all projects that the organization is managing at a given moment. This organizational perspective is critical for prioritizing resources, managing risks, and ensuring that every project contributes value toward the company's long-term strategy. Programs, on the other hand, are collections of related projects tied together by common objectives or shared resources. For example, migrating from an outdated legacy system to a modern ERP might contain multiple interrelated projects, one handling the technical infrastructure, another revamping internal processes, and yet another focused on user training and support. Together, they form the program, held accountable by program managers and leadership. And that brings us to the unsung hero of project and program management, the Project Management Office, PMO. Think of the PMO as an anchor. It doesn't directly manage project content, but ensures that methodology, standards, and processes are followed. Its work in training project managers, enforcing guidelines, and supporting resource allocation helps organizations streamline operations, mitigate risks, and avoid costly redundancies. But why does all this matter? Why should organizations, whether large or small, invest in these structures, roles, and strategies? The answer lies in the stakes. Failed projects aren't just an inconvenience. They can mean millions of dollars in losses, public embarrassment, or regulatory complications. By weaving governance, management, and best practices into the fabric of the organization, businesses can pave the way for innovation while maintaining control. Let's close with this thought. Great project management is part science and part art. The frameworks, processes, and tools form the scientific backbone, but it's the softer skills, the leadership, communication, collaboration, and cultural awareness that breathe life into them. Together, they ensure that projects not only meet their deadlines, but also deliver true value. Let's imagine we're on a journey, not just any journey, but one where each step has to deliver real value. Think of it as setting out to climb a mountain, a complex technical mountain. The gear represents the resources, the map is the guidance we follow, and the goal is the summit, achieving tangible business benefits that justify the climb. Welcome to the world of project benefits realization. At its heart, benefits realization is about ensuring that what we envision at the start of a journey is actually fulfilled by the end. Too often, IT-enabled projects make big promises, higher efficiency, cost savings, improved customer experiences, but how do we ensure those promises become a reality? How do we balance all the moving pieces, time, cost, quality, and reliability, without losing sight of why we started? This is where benefits realization frameworks come in. It's not just about climbing the mountain to tick an item off a list. It's about making sure the climb delivers measurable value to the organization step by step. Now, what does that look like in practice? First, benefits realization starts with clear definition. Think of it as painting an exact picture of what success looks like. If we invest in building an application for customers to manage their orders online, what's the payoff? Maybe it's increased customer satisfaction, leading to a revenue boost, or reduced staffing costs due to automation. This clarity is everything because, like a compass, it keeps the entire team pointed in the right direction. But defining benefits is just the beginning. To turn them into reality, the organization must first identify the capabilities it needs to deliver. These capabilities must land at the right time, stay within budget, and meet quality expectations. Imagine assembling a puzzle in a certain sequence. Each piece, from development to controls to testing, needs to fit into place perfectly. And just as the puzzle's edges form the framework of the mountain picture, IT systems, services, and other resources form the base layers of the organization's climb towards success. Here's where it gets interesting. Benefits almost never show up exactly as planned. This is a crucial point. It's like setting out for the summit, only to find the weather shifts unexpectedly halfway through. Organizations need to constantly evaluate, adapt, and realign their approach. Otherwise, they risk missing the summit altogether. Defining the mission, 4 phases of benefits realization. Picture benefits realization as a 4-phase mission. Phase 1, you plan. This might include outlining the expected ROI. How would you calculate it for an online customer management app? You'd start with business costs, like development costs, data integrity controls, and ongoing maintenance, but weigh those against measurable business benefits like an expected increase in profits or staff reductions due to automation. Phase 2, you assign. Assign targets and metrics for the benefits you've identified. How will you measure success? And who is accountable for making sure benefits materialize and are validated? Think of it as assigning roles for a climb: the navigator, the climber carrying supplies, and the person keeping track of progress. Third, you track. A structured regimen of ongoing monitoring ensures you're not guessing where you are. By assigning owners for each assumption, especially assumptions about customer behavior, costs, or time to market benefits, you can quickly spot what's going wrong and why. Finally, phase 4 is all about validation. After the journey concludes and the system or initiative is fully in place, it's time to look back. Did the benefits align with what was promised? This critical post-implementation review lets the organization learn for future climbs, what worked, what didn't. Each completed climb gives insight to improve the next. Compromise and execution. Now, benefits realization thrives on compromise. It's a careful balancing act between cost, quality, time, and dependability. To succeed, you can't aim to optimize just one factor at the expense of the others. If time becomes your priority, will the system still meet business goals? If cost is cut too much, will quality or ROI fall short? Choosing these compromises requires robust tools, clear indicators like ROI, and strategic foresight. Take the example of an organization leveraging structured project management principles. They need what we'll call a performance trifecta: the strengths and weaknesses of services, internal or external, market knowledge, and technical reliability must be weighed. A strong governance process becomes their safety rope, guiding smart decisions throughout the climb. Initiating the journey, the project kickoff. Thankfully, these journeys don't start by accident. Every climb begins with project initiation. Before a single step is taken, we need a fully prepped team and a map in hand. This is where the project manager plays the role of expedition leader. They assemble a project charter, a document that outlines the goals, stakeholders, and details for the trail ahead, and facilitate buy-in from the business at large. But truly uniting the team requires more than paperwork. It requires communication. Teams might begin with one-on-one sessions for targeted briefs, or project start workshops where all stakeholders align on their objectives. Most importantly, this cultural foundation ensures everyone climbs the same mountain with the same set of expectations. Kickoff meetings outline how, but workshops build the why: objectives, structures, and practical tools. Once initiated, the project must answer one big question: can we turn big goals into actionable steps? It all hinges on clear objectives. Picture these objectives as stepping stones toward the summit. They must be *** specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, better known as SMART. To simplify, an abstract goal like cost savings, a WBS, or work breakdown structure breaks broader steps into manageable tasks. From there, each work package becomes the detailed action plan, with owners, deadlines, and interdependencies attached. For example, if the whole goal is system integration, WP1 might involve hiring consultants, WP2 might handle code migration, and WP3 might focus on testing. Together, these WPs form the scaffolding for the project's success. Time and cost, the real trade-off. No mountaineering mission is free, and every project carries costs and risks. 4 methodologies: analogous, parametric, bottom-up, and past project actual costs, help estimate the budget for information system development. But it's not just about money. Scheduling, done with tools like Gantt charts and critical path methodologies, CPM, keeps everything on track. When unexpected detours arise, organizations can use earned value analysis, EVA, to assess alignment with the original plan. Are we on budget, on schedule? Most importantly, can we still make it to the summit? Accountability to the finish line. Finally, no project is truly complete without closing, and that's more than just cutting a ribbon. The final phase is about post-project reviews, which measure the accumulated benefits against the project's total costs. Reviews provide critical context for ROI, letting organizations know, was the climb worth it? Continuous learnings reinforce future climbs. Thank you for watching, and as always, continue learning. Stay curious, and we'll see you next video.